Hey everyone, this is Wally Wilson here, and I put up a video earlier. It was of this photo. I did like this high speed editing and some retouching, and you guys wanted me to slow it down. So I just put my kid to bed. My wife is going to go do some shopping. I have a nice cozy glass of Cabernet Sauvignon and some Nebbiolo here, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take care of you guys. So I'm gonna make a little video here, and I'm gonna show you how we get from this to this using Lightroom, and then we're gonna use Photoshop, and we're gonna use some of the Kohl's Classroom Uptown actions, and then we're gonna bring it back into Lightroom and finish it off there. So let's get started. I'm pumped. I'm super stoked. This is an informal video, so I'm gonna screw up, but we're just gonna flow with it, and I hope you guys get something out of it. So, all right. So we have our photo here. Yeah. So it's this is some rough light. I'm shooting directly into the sun. We got this blank sky. I don't know how much information's in here, so I'm going to bring down the exposure. There is some information here, so it's not too bad, but I had to kind of split the exposure. I needed to get some of the information in the shadows, and I needed to hold some of those highlights up. So if you guys don't know this, with film, it was kind of the opposite of digital. When you used film, you would always overexpose because it was easier to pull those highlights back than it was to push the shadows, right? Because the silver emulsion was able to really hold on to those highlights. But if you were to try to, bring out those shadows in the dark room, it would be a lot harder, and it would get muddy, and they would get kind of, just wouldn't look good. But digital's actually the opposite. I tell my interns and my second shooters and my staff, that I ultimately like photos underexposed by a third of a stop. This is because it's so easy to push these shadows in Lightroom and Photoshop. So let me kind of show you guys here. So I can bring up the shadow slider, and you can see we still have a lot of information in these shadows. I mean, I don't think there's anything here that's registering as zero information. So this is great. We have a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of information we can use and get out here. So let's get started. Here's the original file. I'm going to push up some of these shadows here and just get some of our information back right in here. I'm also going to bring the warmth up a little bit just in the photo because it is one of those golden hour shots. It's just we're missing one crucial thing here, and that's the sky. And that is, again, because I had to underexpose a little bit, and then we couldn't pull the sky back. So it's just too bright. I'm shooting right into the sun. There's another kind of thing we have to address here, and that is, people kind of get this bad rap about Photoshop, and how much do you want to Photoshop a photo? Do you want to show, your clients and your customers photos that you're dropping in skies, especially with weddings? This was kind of an unconventional wedding that I shot here at Balboa Park in San Diego, but there is the question is if you start doing this and you're spending 20-30 minutes retouching one photo and you're delivering 500-600, there's probably going to be a precedence, and there's already, I'm sure you guys know too, it's everyone just expects Photoshop now. I don't know how many times I hear Photoshop me skinny or Photoshop this or this, so you want to be careful. Just because we can Photoshop stuff sometimes doesn't mean we should. So with that little caveat addressed, let's get started now. So we pushed our shadows here. We've warmed up our photo. I'm going to just push this contrast a little bit higher right here. And let's go ahead and bring this in. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's level off this thing too. It's just a little off, so we're just going to go into this crop tool and adjust it so these vertical lines are nice and straight. And particularly over here with these street lights here. So, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and right click. We're going to hit edit in, and we're going to choose Adobe Photoshop. This comes up here. You can just push render using Lightroom. That means it's going to apply the adjustments you guys made in Lightroom to your Photoshop file. Okay, so here is our photo, right, that we're working with. I'm going to push Command 0 here and bring this up full size. All right, so I have an order of operations I usually like to do in on my photos when I'm retouching, because we are definitely retouching now. So what I like to do first is I like to deal with any like distracting little things, anything that I need to spot removal, anything that I would need to use the clone tool for, anything like that. I'm going to address all those issues right now first. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command J. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and we are going to like make this photo look as best as we can. Just kind of spot removing anything that takes our attention away from this beautiful little vista here that we have going on, and this bride and groom right here. So first things first, I'm going to go over here to the spot tool, the spot healing brush tool. And this is a cool little tool here, you guys. So let's zoom in here. And what you can do is you can just kind of go over something you don't like, and it's just going to take it away. It's going to sample the area around it, and it's going to just take all this stuff out of here. All right. So go in here, perfect. And let's just go in, let's zoom in here, and let's just handle all this little stuff here. Anything that's going to distract our viewers away from things on the photo, we just want to get rid of here. And this is a really quick and easy tool to do so. You know, here we go. Get in there and just get all this stuff out of here. This I'm going to probably take away with the clone tool. It's going to be a little easier, and I'll show you guys why. So here we got kind of a weird line going here. Yeah, this is kind of ugly. Ugly center divide. I'm going to keep it. I think I took it out in the old photo. I'm going to just kind of let's see here. Let's just go in here and just take it out for the sake of this video here. There's a couple little spots here. I'm going to take out this little divide here. So just go through. If you wanted to do this too, this is a really easy way to start when you're retouching, you know, a headshot, a portrait, any little blemishes. This is a great tool to do that, you know. With headshots, I mean, this is the same order of operations I go about with a headshot as well, you know. I will zoom in, you know, as much as I can without the photo pixelating, and just take care of all these little things on a headshot. And it gets it all taken care of, you know. The more you can handle, the better. Okay, so we got rid of all those little distracting things. As you can see, here's it on that layer, and there's what it's off. Okay, so next thing we're going to do here is we are going to make a new layer, and it's going to just be a blank layer. I'm going to go over to this clone tool here, right? The clone stamp tool, you guys know about this, right? So I'm going to go in here, and I'm finding this grass here really distracting. It's not manicured perfectly, and it just bothers me. So we're going to sample some areas around here, and we're just going to take care of this grass. What the city of San Diego couldn't do, I'm going to do for them, right? So we're going to help them out here. So we're just going to take all this stuff. I'm going to just go in here and sample different areas. You know, the problem with using the clone tool is if you use areas around it too much, you'll get this kind of weird patterning, and we don't want that. So just like pick different areas around here. Grass is easy because there's so much different texture and stuff, you know. So we'll go in here just like this. Yeah, just a little bit like this. Now it looks a lot better here. Let's even take out this hydrant. Code requires we have hydrants every so many feet at parks, but you know, my photo's not really digging that, so we're going to take care of that here. Alright, and we're just going to sample, and we're going to turn this fire hydrant into green grass. Awesome, here we go, rockin'. So over here for the curve, I'm going to select a piece of the curve down here, and then I'm just going to go here from that sample and then just bring it over here, just like that, line it up like that, and We are styling, people. Great. So now we have this hydrant here, right? So this is actually, you know, this could be like someone look at this and be like, oh man, this is going to be a pain in the butt. How am I going to take this out, right? It's all interweaved here with these bushes. It's in this pole. So let's start small with this. I want you guys to think small when you're dealing with cloning and handle pieces at a time. So first off, I'm going to rebuild this path as much as I can into this light. So let's sample right over here. Bring it here, and we're just going to go right there. And we're just going to chip away at this little guy, little section at a time. I need an area right here, right? I need to get this sampled in. So let's pull from over here. It's about the same texture. Let's line it up there. Awesome. See, there we go. We are. We're doing it. All right. And now over here to battle this, let's sample from over here. Line this up. And we got some grass and these bushes. This is going to look so good. You guys, no one's ever going to know we took this out. Just like that. Okay, cool. We got that rocking and rolling. Looks good. So next thing you know, we have like this weird kind of thing. And we don't really have anything to sample off of getting this light post, the base of it looking good, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make another layer here. We're going to go down to an actual layer where the photo's on. And I'm going to select this half of the light post. All right. We're going to go up to Edit, Copy, and then we're going to go to our new layer and we're going to hit Paste. All right. So now we have this new layer. I'm going to hit Control T. And what I'm going to do is actually invert that area. So now you see what we did, guys? We took that one side, used it, and then inverted it so we could clone it on the other side. All right? Perfect. I'm going to hit Enter, but we still have to blend it in. So I'm going to go over here to the layer that's on, and I'm going to create a little layer mask here. I'm going to go over to my brush, select the black because that covers up. Bring this brush tool down here, and literally my opacity needs to be a little higher here. And I'm just going to blend this in, you guys. There we go. And as you can see, no one is ever going to know that there was a hydrant there. It looks pretty good, right? Oh, we still need to take care of this here. So let's take our clone tool, like this. I'm going to select this area. It's pretty similar to this. We'll kind of just keep this in here and go right in here. Let's select that, and there we go. So that looks pretty good. Now we don't have those distracting issues over here. The grass looks nice. We're styling. This looks really nice. Okay. So next thing we want to do is we're gonna bring in a sky. Since we were talking about, like, you know, the skies and stuff, you know, and how it, how it looks and everything. Let's go ahead, and I have some skies here. Some overlays. Let's see where they're at. Yeah, Photoshop overlays, clouds, and I have a sunset one. These are the Gatsby cloud overlays, which are pretty cool. Use these, and this kind of works. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to place this cloud right here to where a lot of the color is going to be right here on this horizon, right? That's where we want it, okay? So I'm going to hit Enter. So you're going to be like, Wally, man, this looks horrible. What are you doing? You've had too much Cabernet. But hold on. Give me a second. So the next thing what we're going to do, you guys, is this layer here. I want you guys to go up to normal, and from normal, and then go to darken, okay? So now what that's going to do, it's only going to be on anything that's darker than itself. So awesome. We still have to go in and clean this up because it doesn't look natural. So I want you guys to put a layer mask here. Hit the brush tool. And now we're going to go in here and we're going to clean some stuff up here. Oops. Let's go in here. Good. Like that. Awesome. And what we're going to do, and see how we're just, and if you get too much of it, we're just going to go in here and just kind of figure this out. This can go here. Good. And just going to kind of take away some of that cloud background layer, that It just went too much on there. Okay, good. Just like that. And let's put a little more back here. Good. Right. So let's look at this now. Okay. So next thing we're gonna do, you guys, is this cloud overlay is just a little too dark for me. We gotta make it look a little more realistic, right? Just like that. Good. So let's go in here. Let's see here. Good. So it's looking pretty solid. So the thing that's looking fake to me right now is the contrast between this tower and the sky. All right. So we're going to go into our curves, and we're going to be using curves a lot for this file. Curves is like such a great tool. I think it's probably one of the best things about Adobe Photoshop, to be honest with you. So I'm going to throw a little bit of an S curve in here, and that's just going to get some contrast in here. So I'm going to go right in here, just like that. So, and then you can always check these and see how it looks. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to mask the whole layer in black. And then I'm going to go over here, and now I'm going to get in here and scrape some pixels. And this is just going to give a little more contrast to the building and not make it look so muted against that sky we're dropping in, okay? So a lot of times when I don't drop in a lot of skies. Most of the time I just kind of get it in the camera, so I don't have to, or, if it is a crazy situation, we'll use ND filters or gradient filters or something like that, when it comes up, like, something like that. But when you do, you really have to make it look as real as possible, because the last thing you want is someone calling you out for a fake sky on social media or something, right? Like, none of us want that. It's gonna, so go in here, and I'm just gonna kind of put a little contrast in like that. Over here. Go right in here. Gonna look good against these trees. Oops. Too much in here. I'm doing this a little fast for you guys right here. But I just don't want this video to run like 30 minutes. So I'm just gonna go through these trees and just kind of do a little more like that. Cool, like this. Maybe not so much on these people here. Alright. So you guys can see it just kind of brings a little more contrast. Here's with it on, here's with it off. It just looks a little more real to me, okay? So next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go curves again. And I really want to make some of these areas here that we push those shadows. I really want to make them pop a little more, all right? So let's go in here and let's throw up some more curves here. So let's do this. Let's throw a big old S curve in here like that. This looks pretty good here. Remember, just kind of check it like that. Yeah, we could even use this for some like highlight spots we want. Maybe even on the bride and groom, it'll bring them out a little bit too. So let's go ahead and mask that. Come over here. Just gonna kind of use a big soft brush here and just paint away. Let's go over here to some of these shadow areas. I mean, we're trying to give this image some dynamic look here, and just let's see how it looks. This might be a little too much over here, but this is you gotta kind of play with it. It is a little too much. It's just a little. Well, you know what? I'm gonna leave it for right now. I don't think it's too much. And then it's definitely too much on the bride and groom, so I'm gonna undo that and we'll use a different layer. So this looks good. Bring a little more out in here. Cool. Very nice. All right. So I'm going to deal with some color balance stuff real quick. This is a photo that's kind of shot, at the golden hour, dusk, sunset time. So I want it to be really, really warm. Now, there's a couple different things you guys can do. There's some cool actions in the Cole's Classroom actions that you can do to really warm up images. There's this Fields of Gold one. There's some really cool stuff. There's even some like just warm it up actions that are really nice in here. You can do some different stuff. Let's see here. Let me find. There's some cool ones in here. Like warm it up. This one's great. So I mean, it really makes it nice and warm. Let's go with this. So let's hit warm it up. So we have our warm it up layer here, and then I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna choose black. And then I'm going to mask some of these areas out. Because some of this stuff I don't want warmed up. I want a blue sky in here. I want that warm. And then over here, it's just a little too warm for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that opacity down a tiny bit to like 8. Yeah, that works. Okay. Okay. So let's go over here and let's do it with our bride and groom and really make them pop here. I'm going to go to curves. I'm going to pull this curve up a little bit right in here. And then let's kind of bring it down. Actually, let's go right here. Yeah, that's good. Let's mask that and come back in here. And let's just bring them out a little bit more. Just like that. Shiny dress. These people were like really anti normal weddings, so this was actually on St. Patrick's Day. I shot this wedding, and they just had like a huge party with a bunch of their friends. So it was actually really cool. So anyways, here we go. So our image is looking pretty good. Yeah, we're starting to look pretty good. It still looks fake to me, for sure. So let's go in here and start dealing with some kind of issues. I want this to look kind of contrasty, so I'm going to throw a big curve in this whole kind of photo like that. Maybe not so much here on this end. That looks kind of nice right there. Yeah, let's turn it off and on. Kind of gives it a little pop. So I want to really kind of emphasize that the sun is going down here. In that Kohl's classroom action pack that we made, there's a couple really cool shaping lights in here. One of them is called Cabo Days. I use this one a lot. It looks so awesome, especially if you're trying to make it look like it's sunset. So you guys see that kind of going around. It's this kind of circular light. You know, and it really looks like it's just like this big kind of natural flare. It's really cool. So I'm going to go in here. I've applied it to where I want. The trick is that it's like you want to mask people out on it to a certain extent so that it doesn't look like it's over them. So watch this. If we can mask them out. We could even keep like a little rim unmasked. Just like that, and it's gonna look more natural than having the shaping light over them. So we'll do that just like that. Cool, looks pretty nice. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, I'm probably gonna push. Well, let's see. That looks pretty good over there. Let's try one more adjustment layer here. Let's try to get this just a little more natural looking here. So let's do something. A lot of this is just like really trying to figure out, you know, what you guys like in your own taste in photos. So I'm going to try this out, and then I'm going to bring in some of these curves over here, and then just kind of try to bring that out there. Good. You guys hear my dog in the background? Yeah. I don't know what he's barking at. So, okay, cool. Looks pretty good. I like it. I think it looks really good so far. I think you guys kind of have an understanding of what we've done here in Photoshop. You know, this is a wide angle photo, so we don't really have to worry about blurring the sky so much just because it's so wide and everything's kind of sharp in here. But, you know, it feels like it has like a nice warmth to it. It looks nice to me. We could keep going and do some more stuff and just kind of really tweak these layers and get some stuff going, but I like it. I'm going to bring it back into Lightroom, and the way I have it set up is all I do is hit save. It's going to take a second because it's saving all these layers and bringing it back into Lightroom into a TIFF format, but it's going to be pretty cool. There it is. Right away, is that it? Yeah. Oh no, that's not it. We're waiting for it right now. That's the other one I did earlier for y'all. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. No, that's it. Is that it? Yeah. So anyways, so now we're back in Lightroom, and then Lightroom, I mean, I'm sure you guys use Lightroom a lot too, and being how informal this kind of video is, you know, if you can stay in Lightroom, especially, you know, for the wedding photographers, among you. And oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I'm cutting myself off. This is the one we just did. Oh, so that's like super HDR-ish that we did. I'm comparing it to the one I did earlier. And yeah, so check this out. So we're gonna battle that too. So I'm gonna bring the exposure down here a little bit. I'm gonna use here. Let's do this. Kind of just make it look a little more real, and then I'm gonna just brush in a tiny bit here, and then I'm gonna add some contrast. I always love some good contrast here, and maybe add a little more magenta. There you go. We could even add like, you know, a vignette or whatever. This is super HDR-ish, you guys. Way more than I would normally do, but you know. But yeah, but you guys kind of get to understand like a little bit about how this works. I mean, this is what we started off with, and this is where we're at now. It's, you know, totally different, totally different look. But you know, I mean, if this is what you like to do. You can do it. It looks very pastel-y. It looks very HDR-ish, but you know, some people might like this look. So, but yeah, I hope you guys have liked this video. It's late here. Well, it's not late. I'm a dad now, so it's 8 o'clock, and I feel it's late. But I hope you guys like this video and learned something of it. I'm not saying that this is something you should do, but at least you guys get to see some of the capability. That you know, working with Lightroom, then working in Photoshop, and then working in Lightroom, you can do. There's, you know, a million possibilities, and you know, as you guys see, I mean, this is one I did earlier, and it looks a lot different than the one I just did. You know, it's a lot different. I mean, we just blew through this too, but at least you guys kind of see what you can do and how you can make these photos look and enhance them. So I'm gonna post this up. If you guys have any questions or anything, just post them in the comments. I'm pretty busy, so I don't get to check the Kohl's click as much as I want to. But you know, try to put some comments in there, and I promise I'll do my best to get back to you guys and answer any questions you have. So, all right, y'all. You guys have a good night, and I will see you all later.